Hello everyone, I'm Sheikh Jalal Ahmed. I haven't made a video in quite a while for this channel, and it's late, one of those end of the weekends that is kind of winding down, and I wanted to give an update for whoever may be watching, going through your own process of coming home and understanding yourself. I'm wearing these blue blocking glasses, although there's a bright light, but at least you can see me, although I could stand back in the shadow and you could just see this just having fun. It's been a real interesting time of, I want to say, minimization and letting go. And I know that there's so much happiness that comes from realizing what we really don't need, which is so much. We don't really need that much to survive and even to thrive. Because when we have knowing of who and what we are, or at least the mystery of what we are, because there's the outer form, the visible aspects of ourselves, and then there's the sensing of this mysterious, palpable, ever-present, not a thing, the oneness, what words can only point to, like the moon in the sky, but can't capture, because we're just gesturing toward something that it's not even that you can point to the moon and say, oh, there, look at that, look what that is. But each person will have their own sense of what their own being is. And I believe, my sense is that we are all sensing the same thing, but we're using different ways and means to describe it. And that's why there's such richness in art and poetry and dance and music and everything. So this year I've had to make some changes in my lifestyle that have really been about minimization and simplification beyond what I even thought I would want or need to or be able to do. A big change that I made is really about how I'm engaging with people, family, relatives, friends, especially just taking myself out of the online market. Is really what it feels like. It is a market, right? People are bidding and vying for attention, for clicks, for likes, for it is attention. I think it was like Simon Sinek or Gary Vaynerchuk has talked about that. And I really like what Gary V has to say. He's a very interesting, savvy guy. And I realize that I'm not looking to force myself on anyone, nor to have anyone force themselves upon me. I'm so much about voluntary association these days, from having spent time wanting, trying, that word, that concept, the efforting to, say, improve my mother's situation for what I thought, what I sensed, believed would be for her best interest. But I don't have the authority. I cannot author her life. I have no role in that other than to advise and to recommend, and that's what I've done. And then beyond that, I've had to back off. And I can't continue to do or try in a way that ends up stressing me out. And I got really stressed out last year. And I was fairly depressed earlier this year. I did talk to a therapist. I've thankfully, the rock climbing that I've gotten into a couple of years ago has been just a wonderful outlet for me. It's fun, it's great exercise, there's cool people to be around. It helps me be aware of my eating habits, my recovery of my body, of feeling what it is to be in my body. And I know how important that is. And I know that in the past I've lost that sense of connection between myself and my body and God, Spirit, the divine, the aspect of divine that I reflect, that I am a part of, an aspect of. And there have been times that I've been just sitting in the sauna, just baking out the stress, the exertion after a great session. And I just am just delighting and feeling this satisfying, sweet release. And it's like it reminds me of when the Kundalini happened, and it was just this gift of bliss, and I feel like this little shiver of bliss, this little vibration just kind of go through me, and all I could do is just laugh and just be grateful and just feel like, wow, what a gift to be in my body, to be able to feel a body here, to be connected to this flesh, and to savor it. And what's been also an interesting change is I had briefly had a few dates earlier this year, and they came from a well-intentioned on my part, but at the same time there was like a sense of needing and a lack, and so perhaps because of that, there was just this tension that I felt, and sort of not an incompatibility, and this was online was the first connection, and then I met somebody through some a mutual acquaintance who I met at a workshop or at a expo, and I really felt that I just needed to pull away. And so I've stopped the online searching, which I did for a long time, and I took myself off Facebook. I think I deactivated my account. I could log in again. They always want you to log back in. The CIA loves that. Whoever's operating and controlling and doing the manipulations of the data and all that, which has already been acknowledged. And I was reading more into that today. Black Ops, DARPA project. It's, government authorized new era, silent weapons for quiet wars type mind control, electronic warfare, cyber warfare. It's like, I don't want to take part in that. I don't need that in my life. I don't want to feed that machine. So it's been like, and I've been listening to music that's, a lot of it's older, meaning for me, like I love a lot of classic electronica, trance, Tiesto, Oakenfold. People can say what they want if they like it or not. I love classical too, and jazz. Sometimes the older, the more rich, the more nuanced things are. And I can just listen to trance. I don't need to be on any substance at all. I haven't taken anything, and other than just being in my being and being with me, being with outside, going on rides and walks and whatnot. So, bicycle rides. I miss my motorcycle or having one. So, in a way, I was texting with a dear old friend I just reconnected with recently, and said that I feel like I'm going back to the 1990s, like before there was all of this, immediately accessible technology, just overwhelming amounts of information and distraction. And for people, God, that's we're in 2019, so you'd have to be at least 19, if probably older, to be born, to be aware of the 90s. You'd need to be what, like 30, almost 30. More than that, because to be aware of it, you'd have to be like 5 or 6 or 10. So well, say 20s. You'd have to be in your 20s. So late 20s, 30s. You'd have to be a millennial to at least have some awareness of it. And I'm a Gen Xer. I'm going to be 45 this year. So it's just very interesting to see the difference. Like I remember before there was modems and 300 baud and dial-up BBSs in the late 80s, early 90s when I first became aware of it, and whenever how long it had been around, and FredNet and things, and talking to people online and having the computer class, and it was already a very interesting, strange place, and could be useful and helpful and help me kind of get over some of my shyness. But ultimately, I still needed to meet people in the real world and talk to people in the real world. And that's what I've realized, that I feel like I'm becoming more electronically invisible in some ways, although I've been putting more love and effort into my other YouTube channel, my Suspension Truth channel, for this outreach mission that I'm doing to educate people about vehicles and ride harmony. And I'm taking classes, community college, animation and video production, and a couple dance classes, which is going to hopefully fill more of my desire for face-to-face interpersonal contact. I mean, literally, metaphorically, to dance, I'm probably this is like the 4th or 5th time now I've taken a beginning class, because I haven't kept up with it enough to feel like I can call myself intermediate. But I'm not a rank beginner, which is fine. It's fun. It's sort of like Zen, beginner's mind, right? Just continually being in the beginner, and learning and rediscovering and appreciating the joy of, again, movement and being in my body. So I've also had to disconnect from family. I've just felt that from things that I've discovered, truth that I've found that is there, documented evidence for in various areas, and that people who are unwilling to see that, I've had to say, if someone doesn't want to look at what's really happening, then I have really nothing in common if they don't love the truth. Because go along to get along, and just because you're family and you came from the same womb, you had a shared, father, some DNA contribution and family connections, and my father's been gone for 9 years, and in terms of the physical, there's the ethereal connection, the spiritual connection. I can feel to some degree. It's not as easy as for some people that I know to feel that, and I could probably foster it more if I wanted. But I just feel like I'm just kind of resting in what I can sense and know within my own soul, what my journey is and meant to be, what feels correct and good, what makes me feel like I'm alive and want to be alive. So I've even let a lot of there's just been like a falling away with connecting to my mother. I've really felt that she's had undiagnosed borderline personality for a long time, personality disorder. She had childhood PTSD. Richard Grannon has a great Spartan Life Coaching. He is such a wonderfully lucid, humorous, self-effacing, and sympathetic therapist, and wonderful at helping you understand how you can heal. So the childhood PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, complex PTSD, I think, which happens early in childhood, and that it's this basis that just kind of shatters so many aspects of our psyche. And my mother had a lot that she had to deal with. So I've had a realization of compassion for her, and as I've had compassion, I've also had compassion for myself, for the good boy thing that I felt like I needed to do and be for a long time, the good son. And I realized that that's not a role that I'm not interested in playing anymore. And it's been like there's just been like this sort of lessening of the ties that bind. It's just they really just I mean my mom in some ways still wants to engage in a way that she feels that I'm her special, her son, her firstborn son, and like the relationship that can be more like close in some cases with firstborns, and we've had a very close bond for many years, but it was not a it didn't always have a safe, supportive feel in a way that I felt like I could really trust. And I think that I know that's affected my ability to create lasting relationships. I was able to see some of my patterns and work through them even years ago, but until recently, when I really could see other people's patterns, and even when I've had time to myself, to be without a relationship, to be in relationship to myself, to be open to being connected, and then just to see other people's unconscious patterns coming out and realizing, man, I'm doing my work and you got to do yours. You need to look at what's happening for you and don't be putting things on me that are not mine to take. I just won't accept it. I really don't. It's like, no, that's not me. That's all you. Or at least that's largely you. I may be prompting some response or reaction, but you're not going to pin it on me. It's not mine. Look in the mirror. We have to look in the mirror. So it really feels like I'm sort of beginning like a third lifetime in a way. I guess I could say third. It's really feels peaceful and less lonely now than I felt earlier in the year. Like I have this back and forth where I want to have a connection, a wonderful connection with a woman who's rich and vibrant and introspective and fun and silly and crazy in good ways, not like not that kind of crazy, not looking for that, and like a playful madness, passionately playful madness. And then there's this side that's just aware of some of the potential dangers in the dating world now, with all the ways that consent can be revoked after the fact. And at least in California, there's like this, what's happened? It's like there's all this sexual freedom, but then so many people are acting as though they have no agency and and have to be coddled, even if, it's just so strange. It's so strange. So I'm just being very mindful and falling more in love with my projects and my interests, and just peace, just appreciating peace. That's like to really feel like, wow, like I can really, without the sense of striving to like, I need to earn enough to have this possession or this home or this apartment or this much stuff, and to just really just to feel the external motivations and pushing, just really fall into just kind of like almost fall on their face. It's just very interesting. I find it very interesting. So thank you for watching. If you've made it through this, it feels good to share this. I pray that whoever you may be, that you're taking care of yourself, taking good care of yourself. Being gentle with yourself as much as you can. Maybe giving yourself a little loving kick in the caboose if you need it sometimes, and we all do sometimes, to kind of find our motivation. Spend time every day doing what you love. Spend as much time doing what you love. And acknowledge that sometimes you just have to do things that you may not love and want, but that's part of your growth. And if you come back to what you love, what really makes you light up, you're going to find so much satisfaction. It's like your baseline happiness level just kind of increases, and even if it fluctuates, even if it fluctuates down, you're still more baseline content, happy, satisfied than you would be if you weren't pursuing things that really made you light up and made you come alive. So thank you for watching. Take care of yourself. God bless you. I love you.